Even though it's your PC, or will be once you've received your Steam Deck, and you have every right to open it up and do what you want, we at Valve really don't recommend that you ever open it up.
In a fascinating marketing move, Valve actually published a video that showed the internals of the Steam Deck. That's something I didn't think we would see from Valve. Transparency. The video is called Take a Look Inside the Steam Deck TM, emphasis on the TM. And while what we see plays out like an episode of iFixit, the voiceover emphatically reiterates over and over again that you shouldn't open up your Steam Deck when you get it in your hands.
Opening up and replacing parts might mess things up, like profoundly. For example, if you damage the battery, the whole thing could catch fire later, which would be bad.
So the question is, what did we learn from this video? Well, essentially that the Steam Deck isn't meant to have user serviceable internals.
So be forewarned, and leave this kind of thing to professionals, unless you really feel like taking big risks with your property and with your life, which could end if you do this wrong. Just saying.
The voiceover really plays like a poorly delivered Aperture Science announcement.
This next test is very dangerous. To help you remain tranquil in the face of almost certain death, smooth jazz will be deployed in 3, 2, 1.
So the first thing we learn in the video is that the screws that close the housing of the deck are self-tapping. That means that the screw receptacles on the front of the deck are not pre-drilled and that they're actually drilled when the screw is inserted. As the voiceover noted, this means that it's easy to weaken the plastic by over-torquing the screw when reassembling, and when it's been reassembled, it's less drop resistant, as illustrated by this footage. Okay, so first impressions of the internals. It looks like green PCBs. I mean, multiple of them. While the color doesn't matter, the fact that the board is so modular is actually refreshing and probably dramatically increases the cost of manufacture. Now we have the thumbsticks, and according to this video, these aren't entirely custom parts, from the stick to the sensors to the module that it's sitting atop of. Furthermore, there are both left and right variants of these modules. The next thing that we learn is that Valve plans on selling replacement kits. Kudos to them for that. That's a rare thing to see nowadays.
Stay tuned in the coming months for a source for replacement parts, thumbsticks, SSDs, and possibly more.
Next up, the SSD replacement process. Now, this is where things get interesting. The SSD is mounted on the board next to the Wi-Fi module, and Valve says that they chose the SSD that they did because of its RF emission pattern. According to Valve, other off-the-shelf SSDs will cause Wi-Fi reception issues. Furthermore,
please note, before attempting an SSD replacement, an off-the-shelf SSD could cause problems. An off-the-shelf SSD can draw more power than the original drive, which could cause overheating and reduce battery life. We place components on their motherboard underneath the SSD, and a different one might mechanically interfere with these components, especially during vibration. At least one screw which holds down the thermal module onto the APU is also used to hold down the shield can. Removing this screw can impact the thermal performance of the thermal module.
So the first step in swapping out the storage is to remove the thermal shield and then unplug the battery. If the battery isn't disconnected, it could be bad news for your deck. The deck only has enough room for an M2 2230 sized module. What's fascinating is that even though the 64GB model of the Steam Deck uses eMMC storage, it's still connected to the deck via an M.2 slot. There was some speculation in the community that the eMMC was actually soldered onto the board, but Valve put this rumor to rest. Valve then ends the video with,
remember, if you have followed these directions correctly, you've done absolutely none of the preceding steps.
I love this video though. Valve is being transparent here. They're showing us the product, like what we're actually buying. They're informing users that it can be dangerous to do this, which is definitely true. I've ruined a couple laptops by taking them apart, and laptops really aren't that user serviceable. But they also know that some people will, and they're not trying to revoke your right to repair. What's great about this is that Valve plan on making these modules and stuff, replacement parts, available to be bought, so that in the event that like a thumbstick breaks, you can replace it. And you know what? That is so cool because most companies are not doing that now. So I'm a big fan of that. Pro tip, when dealing with self-tapping screws in plastic, thread the screw in reverse until it clicks or abruptly sinks. Then you can start screwing them in the correct direction. This technique ensures that you aren't cutting new threads into the plastic, thereby weakening it. That's actually some good advice. Don't do this, but if you want to do it, here's how. Recommending part suppliers is the biggest move from a hardware supplier. Huge props to Valve's, this needs to become industry standard, and I couldn't agree more with that. Remember to wear ESD straps, wears it outside of a glove. We're not saying that you should do that, we're just saying you can do that. Yep. In this video, a certified Valve technician is demonstrating how to earn an entire consumer base's respect in under 6 minutes. I like that comment, that's funny. Nintendo, Sony, and Apple. You can't ever touch your consoles or devices because even though you bought it, it's never yours. Valve. You can do it, here's how. Please don't explode. I like that a lot. Anyway. Alright, that's enough of the comments in this video. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you being here. If you like this video, let's see if we can get it to 5,000 likes. If you believe in the work that I'm doing here and you want to help support the show, you can support the show with a monthly contribution on Patreon or become a YouTube member. Both are equally appreciated. I want to give a special shout out to my patrons and my members. Without you guys, I wouldn't be able to do this, so thank you. It means the world to me. That's going to do it for this video. Let me know in the comments what you think of this Valve video, and what do you think about Valve's Warpath with the Steam Deck? I would love to hear from you guys. But thank you for watching. I hope you all have a blessed day, and I'll see you in the next one.